When you look back at Sokoto in the early 1980s, as a young correspondent at NTA, did you ever imagine your voice would come to shape political narratives at this level?
I had always aspired to be in television from school, and so Sokoto gave me that chance at the NTA. Did I aspire to be what I am today? I don't think that my aspiration was as big as that. But I just wanted to be a good reporter, impacting the lives of people, especially who are underprivileged, uh, support people who are inflicted in society. And if we can also inflict those who are inflicting people, that's some kind of a crusading journalism of sorts. So Sokoto then was calm, a very affordable city, because what was the take home pay at that time? It was something as low as 400 naira, and you could still, buy clothing, feed yourself, and save.
Back to memory lane, that 400 naira today, will you be able to quantify the amounts for today?
Or in terms of the value
Then and today.
maybe $500.
Okay.
400 was sufficient
At the
that
time. Okay. In all of these years, I know from starting from small and getting this big, what did journalism teach you about Nigeria that politics did not, and vice versa?
Journalism is a punishing profession also. You go through a lot. You are a witness to so much happening, and you are an agent for the conveyance of actions and activities of other people. The thing about it is that in this country, you get punished for being a conveyor belt. And I give this example, a short one, but a story like a mother and a child, a family of two, father and mother took their 7-year-old kid to a supermarket, and they were looking into the children's wear. Mother saw 2 sweaters she could not afford, but she liked. She didn't have money to pay, but wanted for the child. She removed 2 sweaters and put in her bag, and they walked out of the shop without pay. When they got home, mother was in the kitchen, and the child and the dad were in the parlor. Father said to this little kid, "Your mother is a thief." And the child now went into the kitchen and was screaming at his mother, "You are a thief, Ma. Why did you steal the sweaters? I'm not going to wear them. You should take them back." So she drove out. I don't think she went to the market, to the supermarket. Found someone and dumped those 2 sweaters. She came back home. Now, the important thing about this story is this child grew up and was telling his own story, that his mother wasn't so much someone he disliked or his hate object. His father became his hate object because he told him the story of his mother being a thief.
Yeah, without the whole background.
That's the story of the journalist. People persecute you for simply conveying the story, and they fail to realize that this is your duty. You're just an agent, representative of the public. You're taken from point A
to B.
That's basically it.
Then looking back, what was the hardest public defense you ever had to make for your principal? And did it come at a personal cost to you after conveying that message?
Journalists must be careful, or public relations persons and spokespersons must be careful spinning stories. And I say I will not disclose this incident, but there was a spin I put on a story, and that story went haywire. Yes, the idea was to protect the boss. Yeah. I don't think the world saw it that way. And the crazy thing about it was, in fact, that story was one of the top 5 on the BBC World Service. So it's a lesson that I guess journalists who come after us would be learning.
Was there any personal cost to you in terms of maybe your safety going about?
Well, in a different setting,
Yeah.
and doing a different kind of job, yes, I had suffered arrests, repeated by the Secret Service on the order of the then president. And then I was charged to court. My passport was seized for more than 2 years. I didn't have a passport while the trial was going on. I was taken to Kuje prison for a number of days before a judge, the judge decided to grant me bail. And then, so I continued to go to court from home. Repeated arrests of that nature, your house broken into at night and searched by the Secret Service is traumatizing, not only for you, but for family members. And we endured that. But thank God that all of that is now behind us.
Mashallah. Over nearly 2 decades, you've stood at the center of Nigeria's political communication machinery. What do you believe is your most defining contribution to Nigeria's democratic story?
Allow me to be humble about all of these things. I have risen from a reporter to editor and managing director and presidential spokesperson. In the course of this, of course, one would say we were there when the late MKO Abiola ran for presidency. We were interacting with Abiola on the platform of the Nigerian press organization, of which he was the national president, mostly in his home. And when he came to my city, Kano, to campaign, it was in my office, actually, he first made his stop, refreshed himself, and then went on to campaign. But in addition to the personal relationship, as a matter of principle, we ran the Triumph newspaper in a way that it stood for the principle of democracy and justice. And we had then therefore clearly been identified as being pro-Abiola. And the government in Kano was not exactly a pro-Abiola government. So therefore, the persecution had begun to set in before Abacha now announced the dissolution of the National Assembly and sacked the governors and all of that. But on the day he made that broadcast, I assure you that I was in the Secret Service. I had been called very early in the morning and nobody had talked to me. I had been in the office waiting all day until around 11 p.m. when they came to say, go home. It was at that point,
Morning.
yeah, it was at that point that I realized that the government or the governor that had asked for my detention and possible continued arrest had himself been sacked by the military. And so therefore they had no basis for continuing to keep me. So they asked me to go home.
You've often been described as a loyal defender when it comes to your principles. And this is something that people feel like you're taking personal bullets for. In your view, where does loyalty end and accountability to the Nigerian people begin as a journalist?
It's a difficult question. Because one, there's a principle involved. You can always have one master at a time.
Sure.
You can't be a servant to two. Otherwise, you're deceiving people. So you have to make up your mind on loyalty to the boss and to the nation. If you work, and I'm sorry I have to say this because the truth about public relations practice is that you must be loyal to the boss and you cannot side with public opinion against your boss. That's basically it. So
According to principles.
yeah, so therefore, if you choose to work for president or governor in that respect, you know who you work for. Um, um, it's not so much of a survival principle, but the ground reality of the situation. You are the governor's appointee, employed to do specific job. So, as they say, if the heat is too much in the kitchen, get out. That's the attitude.
So it means if you can't compromise against some maybe personal values, you need to leave the job.
Yeah, leave it.